Hello, thanks for joining Agentic Pathcast. I'm your host, Nick Kabanev. In this episode, we're talking about how AI and agentic automation are changing customer engineering. This role is no longer just about showing that the technology works, it's becoming more strategic, helping customers think through architecture, governance, business outcomes, production readiness, risk, and how to move from a promising pilot into something that actually scales. You'll hear and watch my conversation with Alex Mihailciuc, Senior Vice President of Customer Engineering at UiPath, on how his world is changing and what great customer engineering looks like in the agentic era. Stay tuned. Before we deep dive and get into the agentic AI, could you please tell our listeners and viewers a little bit more about yourself, your role at UiPath, and what the customer engineering actually means in practice?
So look, and we know each other for a long time, right? I've been with UiPath for quite a long, right? So I've kind of seen all stages, right? From back in the RPA days to then, with machine learning penetration and now into the AI era. So I've been like probably 9.5 years with UiPath by now. And my current role today kind of evolved with also my interest and my skill sets over time. I started with one spectrum of the customer activity, which is the one of pre-sales, right? Solution engineering.
Yeah.
So as I built that for UiPath, and naturally I filled in the next stage, which on the customer life cycle, which is like the post-sales activities, right? Post-sales activities, and is now part of customer engineering scope, is customer success, right? Which are the people on the team responsible for the consumption, adoption, and value realization of our technology within a customer environment. And then naturally the third step, right, to that, in addition now to the customer engineering, is the premium support, right? The platinum support, as we call it, which are the technical account managers, which are the really technical engineers that we associate to support accounts that are premium, right?
Yeah.
Really top customers with big deployments. And on top of that, and this is also reflects my passion for innovation, I've got the innovation labs, right? The UiPath AI Innovation Labs, which address edge cases and really innovative new technology association with the hype of AI, and bringing that hype closer to the customers, educate customers, but as well as test the limits of our technology.
Yeah.
So kind of that's what I do.
Every profession essentially is going to change because we have this multiplier that can make our job better. How is customer engineering changing now?
It's a very interesting question. Again, customer engineering is evolving like never before, right? Even if we still have right now concrete roles like pre-sales, like customer success, technical account manager, that's more, I would think, shaping as a consequence factor, back to the consequence thing, right? Or the outcome of that role. But I see much more a collaboration and cross-pollination between the two. Like a pre-sales person right now, with the help of AI, right, and enhancement of AI and workflows, can now easily be more industry agnostic, rather than before where it's just a technology person.
Yeah.
Right? So AI is shaping into that. But by becoming and understanding the industry of the customer, he can also play defense, so to say, like post-sales.
Yeah.
Because he understands the processes now and the importance and the outcome of that process. So he can also swap with the CSM. But CSM, on the other hand, understanding better and being enhanced by, and we're going to probably get there, UiPath coding agents to really do the build. So their technical access barrier naturally went down. They can also now do, find opportunities for upsell,
Yeah.
right? Or usage in the customer.
Yeah.
So basically act a little bit like a pre-sales.
Yeah. So what was a bottleneck back then, or a traditional bottleneck of pre-sales and post-sales segregation of duties, is that sometimes customer success manager knows customer and has great empathy and can interact with customer, can get all the latest news that are, and can share all the latest news from the company. But it comes to a limitation where a customer success manager needed to show something, right? So they
And that's
still
where-
have to go back to pre-sales. Oh, could you please demonstrate that or create something for our customer to look at? Well, right now, with the enhancement of technology, customer success managers can do this part of the role. Equally, pre-sales now can embrace the empathy, right? They can talk to customer, they can get all the news, they can understand and focus on what actually matters, so that the demos don't look like, you know, a scripted thing that you can just read.
And Nick, look, I know on the surface it sounds like a benefit for us, right, at UiPath, but actually I see a lot of customers that actually do benefit from the same aspect in a mirrored way. Why I'm saying that is because right now the guy that sold me the solution is actually staying with me,
Yeah,
right? And he's my neck to choke for actually consuming it.
yeah.
Because now he understands my industry, he understands
That's a
my
great point.
processes, right? So it's actually a lot of benefit for the customer, right? And even if that's not the case and the pre-sales person transitions, let's say, to a new opportunity, I've got the technical account manager, which has all now the capabilities to run with that customer and be forever the guy that continues to evolve, consume, and grow into a new solution, a new department, that area. And actually customers love that, to have like a single person that never changes for them.
And that makes sense. It's all about people interaction I think,
Exactly.
between each other, but also that you can now share so much information. What was another bottleneck is that in pre-sales, you get a lot of information, why you made this decision, what customer wanted, and then it just lost. And a lot of systems of records, what used to be system of records, which is changing to system of actions now, right?
There is a lot of other things that are changing for the benefit of the customer. Like in a pre-sales way, we used to, think that we go into a prospect, for example, and talk about, I've got these finance demos, look how you can use my technology and so on and so forth. Sometimes when you're talking to business people, they didn't understand what you are talking about and you would not understand their business. Again, now with AI, a pre-sales person and a solution engineer can go very specific and very deep on a customer type of process. And build a demo and build a conversation and focus the conversation rather than explaining the technology, focus the conversation on the outcome.
Yeah,
That the customer will also understand in his language.
yeah,
Yeah. Same with the customer success. There's another aspect. For example, our customer success people used to spend a lot of time in building a success plan and tuning that to the outcome of the customer. What do they need to do with our technology? What is their rhythm of implementation and so on? Now that's so easy to do with AI that actually the customer success managers focus way more time into discussing and tuning that together with the customer rather than building the documentation and the plan.
yeah.
So it's amazing, right?
Yeah,
It's an amazing outcome.
Yeah. It's all only a play in quality, right? Because we can spend more time, we can understand more, we can actually be focused on the right things, but also I think an update in quantity of just the amount of people who can do that now. Because if you, I guess, amalgamate roles into one, and we're going to discuss that. Is there one role? Are there going to be many different roles, the way you see that, a bit later? But I think it's the same kind of like discussion that we had with Mihailciuc recently about how UiPath grew as a company tenfold and hasn't hired any additional person in the financial team. We still have the same amount of people processing our financials as we had when we were a very small, well, really small, $150 million company.
It's the same for my org, if you think of it, right? Yes, my org grew in numbers, but it grew in numbers by opening new territories. Rather than, in the same territories, actually we reduced kind of the number of people and we moved to other territories.
Yeah. So we can help more customers
Exactly.
now with the same quality of, and the same attention.
And I would say even more, because I'll give you some numbers. I actually, it's the first time I'm sharing this, by the way. As we started our agentification program internally in customer engineering, I've noticed in the last 3 to 4 months an increase by almost 10%, which kind of found its root in the decrease of internal calls and a 10% increase in customer-facing time. which for me, when I saw this data, was like, wow, that's exactly what I want. More customer-facing time.
Yeah, that's really great. I think a lot of listeners and viewers can relate to these internal calls that are never ending.
Exactly.
We spend a lot of time on that. Great. I think a very interesting point. How do you see this future role? Is it a blend of everything, or are there distinctive roles? And I think we opened it talking about the FDEs, right? The forward deployed engineers, or whatever you call that, right? The F, D, and E could mean different things. What does it mean to you, and how do you see, is there a split, or is there a
Look,
blend?
to me, the FDE roles like Echo and Delta, right, as they are defined, and it's not defined by us, it's defined by Palantir, right, which we need to call it out, which kind of pioneered, right, this type of approach. To me, is a hat to wear. It's not a job per se. I see, for example, people in customer success, where their core skill, right, is adoption, is industry knowledge, and is program management skill set. They could easily be an Echo to build solution on an industry for a customer on a specific project.
Yeah.
Pre-sales people or TAM people, right, which are more technically savvy, can be a Delta on an implementation. So I see this more of a, what is the need of the customer in a specific time of the customer journey, that I will wear this kind of a hat.
Yeah. How would you define Delta and Echo, just for our listeners who haven't heard about the Palantir model?
Yeah, so for me, Deltas are the core tech guys that are really developing processes, workflows, orchestration, automations, API automations, and so on.
Is it a software engineer or more like a sales or solution engineer?
No, I think right now it's a little bit of both. I would say it started more with a software engineer background, but now with coding agents, that barrier again reduced. Right?
Yeah, a lot of people can become software engineers now. Yeah,
exactly, right. And you see a lot of people on YouTube, in various places, creating applications, creating websites and so on, which they had zero coding experience before. So that barrier is blending, is blurring. Whilst the Echoes are more business people, more solution process oriented architects. So in my world of customer engineering, I would say they're more like the CSM type.
Could it also be like business analyst?
Yes.
Business now analyst. Have the ability to actually develop something for the customer as well. I think the other great opportunity that we have right now, because, well, companies, software companies, going to have more people to support customers. We're also going to have way more information how we actually help the customers, and we can share that across all the different regions. So imagine how, while previously it was very hard to share use cases, that's why internal meetings exist. Right now, there could be like an internal database of all of those.
You're touching on a fantastic point, and that's one of the outcomes of our internal agentification process, is to create this knowledge cloud, right? This knowledge management system with AI, kind of, if you know the Andrei Karpathy's concept of a second brain, right? We kind of want to create that for customer engineering, so that transition, that exchange of use cases, templates, becomes so natural and easy that you don't need that 1 hour alignment call on this account or that other 1 hour internal, right? So move that time in talking to the customer and helping the customer rather than aligning internally.
Well, thanks for joining this episode of Agentic Pathcast. The big takeaway is that customer engineering is becoming much more than technical enablement. In the agentic era, it is about helping customers connect technology, workflows, people, risk, and outcomes so automation can move from demo to real enterprise value. I'm your host, Nick Kabanev. See you in the next episode.